Good morning. What's going on up on Beacon Hill? As always, plenty. And who better to talk about it and give us some perspective on it than the Speaker of the Massachusetts House, Representative Robert DeLeo of Winthrop. Mr. Speaker, welcome.
I'm always glad to be here.
You sure? You're not just saying that?
Well, actually, I'll give a definitive answer when we're finished.
Okay.
But I do actually enjoy your tough questions.
I appreciate it. Well, I'll do my best.
Your knowledge, especially.
Speaking of tough, Governor Baker had a tough time the other night addressing a gathering of transgender rights advocates. Did you see the video of him being heckled and booed by that crowd, and what'd you think of it?
Well, I didn't actually see the video itself. I read about it, and I saw the picture of him leaving the podium. You know, I can tell you that this is a very hot and heated question. I can tell you in the House, for instance, I've spent, you know, some time talking to members who have had some, you know, concerns about voting for the bill. There's obviously some pros, some cons. So as the process is moving along, I think it's going to be very interesting. What I'm looking to do right now is to, not knowing exactly what the governor is going to do, is to see if we can get it passed, obviously, which I feel fairly confident about that. The question is, depending upon the governor, whether we're going to have the votes to override. And
a veto, override,
over veto,
yeah.
And quite frankly, John, my opinion is, I want something that's not only going to pass the House, okay, what's going to become law.
But survive the
I'm not looking for, you know, a symbol. I'm looking for a law. And because if we don't succeed,
yeah,
and it doesn't become law, then I'm very concerned in terms of this movement being set back a number of years if we can't get it in law at this session.
Well, let's cut to the bottom line here, which appears to be, at least in political terms, unease among some voters and some of your rank and file over, I hesitate to use the terminology that opponents of the bill prefer, the bathroom bill. Right. But I think people understand there's questions about access to public accommodations, and does that pose issues if transgender people are using a public bathroom. How does your bill deal with that?
The bill deals with it in the sense of it just makes sure that there are no, that people, no matter their sex or sexual identity, can use any public facilities that they wish to. It's not only about bathrooms, it's about restaurants, it's about other stores or whatever it may be. But obviously, I think the opponents have grabbed on to the word of bathroom and really made that as sort of the centerpiece. So you just want to make sure there's no discrimination, which I quite frankly is the right thing to do.
I'm sorry, are their concerns foolish? Do you dismiss them?
No, I don't think you can dismiss anyone, and that's why I'm listening to folks. I'm listening to members. I think if, you know, they have some strong, reasonably held beliefs that they do not feel comfortable in this situation, they do not feel comfortable for their children, then so be it. I, again, happen to think it's a good piece of legislation. Okay. I think it's worthy. I think it should pass, but only time will tell.
All right, we have a lot more to get to. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with House Speaker Robert DeLeo in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. We're talking with House Speaker Robert DeLeo. And Mr. Speaker, I can't let this program pass without taking note of the passing of Barbara Anderson, the mother of Proposition 2.5, the longtime limited taxation advocate. Every year there are efforts on Beacon Hill by some to weaken Proposition 2.5, for instance, making it easier to override by exempting seniors so they won't vote on the issue. Are you fully committed as Speaker to preserving Prop 2.5 as is going forward?
Yes, and I don't really see much effort on behalf of the so-called anti-Proposition 2.5 folks to to override it, or I shouldn't say to override it, to bring it to the House floor for a vote. As you may or may not know, for instance, in this year's budget, as I have in the past, there would be no new taxes, no new fees. Now, whether there is going to be an amendment to the budget when we debate it, we'll see. But I haven't heard really any appetite at all. Do I hear people, especially at the local level, saying, well, gee, if we didn't have Proposition 2.5, we wouldn't have this issue, that issue, we could do this and that. But I really have not seen any strong effort to really change the law at all.
Well, speaking of changing the law, there's a you have lent your name, along with Governor Baker and Boston Mayor Marty Walsh, to the opposition to full legalization of marijuana for recreational use. The advocates of that have created a poster of the governor and Mayor Walsh with a speech bubble over their heads that says, "Our health policy, drink more alcohol." They're trying to brand them as hypocrites for supporting more liquor licenses but opposing pot legalization. What do you think of that approach, especially given the fact that it's no secret Mayor Walsh is a recovering alcoholic?
I'm not sure if that was in the best of taste, quite frankly. I don't see what they gain, first of all, in that type of poster. And, Marty, by the way, I think in a week or so, I think is coming up on his anniversary of sobriety, which I always remember. And knowing the governor as I do, I don't think that's the way that's the way to talk about the differences of opinion. And I think, speaking for myself, and I think the mayor and the governor are pretty much on board of the same thing. We're going through a terrible, terrible opioid crisis right now. And I feel very hypocritical, quite frankly, for me to say on the one hand, look, we're going to do everything we can to, stop this abuse and stop these deaths. But on the same time, on the next day, turn around and say, you know what, but I'm for the legalization of marijuana, which I've continuously heard from advocates. I've continuously heard from addicts, the fact that, they've started this whole progression to heroin many times with marijuana. That's what I have heard. And so I don't want to be a part of anything else like that. Senator Lewis, who did a very good report, went out to Colorado and took a look and saw the issues. There are a number of reasons why not to support it, put it that way.
This will be going on all summer and into the fall.
Oh, yeah.
We'll look forward to having you back. Perhaps maybe you'll come on and debate the issue.
I'd be happy to.
We'll look forward to that.
Nice to see you.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for coming.
Nice to see you.
House Speaker Robert DeLeo, that's it for me. Right now, it's back to my colleagues for more WBZ News.